welcome back to Go Call Your Sister. My voice is gone, but honestly, it fits the theme of this episode and the fact that this episode is just a little bit late this week.
Honestly, everything is tracking right now. Bird is fresh from Vegas for her birthday trip. And I just celebrated my 2 months of sobriety. So we're in very different places in life right now.
Yeah. As you guys can see, the title of this episode is Sober versus Hungover. And we thought it would just be a really interesting take getting to talk about life on opposite ends of the spectrum because I am definitely on the hungover train this week.
We should have just let them guess, like, who was hungover, who was sober.
I think if anyone watches my social media, you could take a really wild guess that I would be hungover
That is true. That
today.
is true. Well, this is your first podcast at 25, quarter life. How does it
I
feel?
know. 25, everyone on my birthday kept asking me, do you feel 25? Like, oh my gosh, do you feel older? And I was like, for the first time, able to say absolutely yes, because I feel like in my younger years, I could just roll and weekend benders. Like we'd go to New Orleans in college. We would go to Nashville. We go on these trips and I would just be like, woohoo, party time. And the legitimate fear that I had every single day in Vegas of the hangover that I knew was impending and just my impending doom, I felt older because I was like, I've never feared hangovers. I took every precaution there was to take in Vegas. We had hangover patches on. I was pre-gaming with Pedialyte. I chugged a huge Dasani water bottle full of liquid IV before I went to bed every night. Took a Zofran, preventative Advil. I did it all and I still felt horrible. And I think that's just a difference in younger 20s versus 25.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the turnaround rate just is so crazy as you get older. I mean, it lasts for days. Like, it takes me multiple days to recover from a night of drinking. And I think it just only gets worse.
Yeah, that was the problem. In college, I would wake up a little bit hungover, chug a Gatorade, and be like, okay, I'm better. Let's continue on. And in adult life, I legitimately am in the middle of my day and around 2 or 3 p.m., it hits me and I just drop dead. It comes later in the day and it lasts forever. It's so bad.
I know. Honestly, it's been really, really nice to wake up on, not to rub it in your face, but, to go out to something on Friday night and wake up Saturday and not cancel my workout.
Hmm.
I was doing
Yeah.
that too much, especially towards the end of the year with the holidays. And I was just drinking a lot. But honestly, it's crazy because I started drinking really young, growing up in a college town. So I was probably 16, maybe a little older. And I don't think I've been 2 months sober since, which is a really, really wild thing to say.
Yeah, honestly, same. And dry March is looking pretty good to me right now. I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm thinking about running it because I know after just what we've learned with our family and obviously, and I think that's something that people ask me a lot is oh, do you still drink your family with your family's recovery journey and stuff? And definitely have a healthy relationship with alcohol. It's not something I've ever struggled with. It's honestly not something that I super enjoy. And so that's why I think Vegas was kind of a shock to me because it was just, such a party place. And I think I knew that going in, but after that weekend, I don't think I'll ever go back to Vegas again. It would take a really niche experience to bring me back, possibly an NFL game or a really amazing concert. But the weekend that I just had, I think that will be the only one I ever do in my life.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have been to Vegas once and probably the last time I will go. But yeah, if there's a cool concert or something like that, I would go back to see Adele's residency and maybe a few others. But it would take a lot to get me back there. And I just am blown away by the fact that you can spend multiple days there and just never have fresh air or go outside or see any sort of nature. It's
No,
just not for me.
that was the craziest thing. Just how Vegas is obviously cool because it's just such it's dystopian. It's just an interesting place. Everything is you know, artificial and shiny and plastic and crazy. And when we got back to California, I told the girls, like, I've got to go walk outside. Like, I need to take my shoes off, ground, go touch some nature, and get back in my element because I don't think I saw a tree one time when I was there that wasn't
No,
artificial.
I'm sure you didn't. And when we were there, it was so just out of hand because MGM, the biggest like resort, they own like all the hotels in Vegas, they got hacked. And so it was just like a madhouse. Like, of course, the normal Vegas madness, but like layered on top of people freaking out because like their accounts were hacked into. Like, it was just a shit show. Like, capital SHIT. Like, it was just a scene that I never want to go back to.
Yeah. I mean, we had a really good time. I'll recap my birthday trip for you guys, but Vegas is a different breed of human beings. Like the people who frequent Vegas honestly terrify me a little bit. And I think one thing that I had a hard time with, like, obviously in the moment you're having fun and it's like all, glamorous and whatever, but like just like kind of the excess spending and like kind of like gluttony and like I don't know, just like in Vegas, like people spending like $20,000 on a table and bottles and just like the fact people do that often, it's crazy. Like I just couldn't comprehend that.
I know like certain people that are always like, "Oh, I love Vegas. I love Vegas." So I want to hear from them. Like, what do you love about it? Like, why? I just cannot see it. I really can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts. But I'll take you guys through a little recap of my weekend. Also, if you're watching on the YouTube, which we launched last week's episode with Maddie Theobald was our first YouTube episode. And I'm really excited about that because we had so many people ask for YouTube and we're finally delivering. And we're going to add a little bonus feature in this week's YouTube. We did some vlogging of our extremely opposite sober and hungover weekends and we're going to add some of those clips in the YouTube. So as I talk about it, I'll insert those into the video if you're watching on YouTube. But should I just run everyone through like my weekend and then you can run us through
Y-
yours?
Yeah, give us the recap.
Okay. POV, we get in the car and we drive to Vegas. Coming live from the car ride to Vegas. Woo! 2 hours and 46 minutes left. Getting ready for the birthday weekend of a lifetime. Stay tuned. And the drive from San Diego to Vegas is like a little under 5 hours.
But I
And
will
on the
say
way,
the drive from Southern California to Vegas is beautiful. Like, I know there's no nature there, but just like while you're driving, it's absolutely gorgeous. We did it at sunset. I don't know what time you guys left, but I mean, I thought it was so beautiful.
yeah, no, I mean, it's beautiful. Like you're driving through just like the straight up desert. And there's like, parts that have mountains and there's parts that have like looked like Joshua Tree. It was definitely a really pretty drive there, like a very enjoyable drive there. Everyone was happy, the spirits were high. We were all laughing and giggling and like taking turns driving. When I tell you the contrast of the drive home, like when we were driving there, I was like, oh my gosh, why do people ever fly here? Like, it's such an easy drive. We have all of our stuff. Like, we are just like able to stop whenever we want. On the drive home, I was like, I was considering flying home and like just leaving the girls. Like, I know that would have been the worst thing I could have ever done, but I was really considering it because the drive home hungover through the desert for 5 hours. Heading home. I'm never coming to Vegas ever again, but it was fun. Get me back to San Diego. Oh, and also on top of that, there was a windstorm, like a like weather advisory windstorm while we were driving home. So the car was like shaking back and forth the whole drive through the desert. And I was like, oh no, like this might be the end for me, honestly. Um, but the drive there was fine and it was honestly good. And we got to our hotel. So Blaine and I did a brand deal with Virgin Hotels, which was honestly kind of a dream for me because I've always loved Virgin Hotels. The one in Nashville is amazing. The one in Dallas is amazing. And so when they reached out about a brand deal, they asked me if there were any dates in 2024 that I would want to come to Vegas. And I was like, oh, I'm turning 25 in March. Perfect. So we've had this plan since like October.
Didn't you
And
reach out to them? Like, you were trying to find a hotel for a different time or something,
yeah,
and they
I
got
was
back to
trying to
you?
go. to Rufus Du Sol concert in Vegas. Like, and it was like the weekend of, and like the hotels were so expensive. So I literally emailed every single hotel in Vegas. And then Virgin got back to me like a couple weeks later, but asking for dates in 2024. And so that's kind of how
Honestly,
we planned the birthday trip.
that worked out though because I feel like Virgin is such a perfect like birthday in Vegas hotel. Like all of their hotels are very much like party vibes and really,
Yeah.
really fun.
We went to a ton of hotels this weekend, just like going to the clubs and like going to casinos and stuff. And I don't think I would go to Vegas and stay anywhere else other than the Virgin. Like, the hotels on the Strip are quite literally terrifying. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's like some nice bougie ones. Where did you guys stay when you went to Vegas?
We stayed at the Nobu Hotel.
Yeah, yeah. That was
But it's in Caesar's Palace. But Virgin is nice because it's like a little further away, but you can still get
mhm.
to the strip easily, but it feels more removed.
Yeah, it's like 10-ish minutes from the Strip, and I loved that personally because it still had a casino inside, it had all the things, but it was, like, very much calm. Like, when we walked into the Virgin, I was like, "Okay, whew, like, I can breathe." Because when I went to, like, Caesars and all those other hotels, I was literally so overwhelmed, like, I was, like, overstimulated. I thought I was gonna have a panic attack.
Yeah. I bet. I'm sure. It's very like just sensory overload. You have the lights, you have the people, you have the music, you have like the sounds of the machines. Like it's a lot to
Yeah,
take in.
it really is, but
And
we checked
honestly,
into
it's
the
sad. Like when you go through the casinos and you see these old people there at like 8 a.m. with their oxygen tanks, like at the
oh
slot
my
machines,
gosh,
you're like,
yeah.
how did you end up here? Like, what's
Oh,
going on? Let's
literally.
talk about it.
We saw like I want to say he was probably like 95 years old. This 95-year-old man on the like slots bent over and someone was massaging him. Like someone from the hotel. They were like massage people walking around massaging people on the slots. It was so like at first I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cute." And then I looked at it for a second more and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so
So
depressing."
sad. It really is. And
Like
they're just like chain smoking all day. Just, ugh, I hate
yeah.
it.
Yeah, but we checked into the Virgin, we got there Thursday afternoon, and when I tell you, like, I think one of my highs of the weekend was just checking in and seeing the rooms that they gave us. We stayed in the Oasis Suites, and we walked in, and I was just blown away. Like, I've never stayed in a hotel this, like, big and nice and beautiful. It was literally like an apartment like building. It wasn't
It
like
was
a hotel room.
massive.
It was massive and we had two of them. So it was like two huge rooms, two huge living rooms. There were two bathrooms in each suite, which was so nice because having four bathrooms total, like for girls getting ready, was amazing. And they just like did it so cute for us. And I walked in and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be fun because we were just staying in such a beautiful place. Because we were working with the hotel, I was like limiting the amount of friends that I brought because I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to like pack the rooms and like, offend them or anything. But I genuinely think we could have put like 8 or 9 people in each room. Like they were just huge. Like we just had so much space to run around, which was so nice, especially for the weekend. And you know how like when I travel, my bags explode everywhere, and I just had plenty of room to have my shit flying around
Honestly,
everywhere.
you probably could have just stayed in that room by yourself and had your stuff everywhere.
Yeah, honestly, I could have.
When Bird
And
travels, her suitcase just like explodes. Like it opens and immediately just like it's a bomb.
it honestly was. And Thursday night, the girls were like, "Oh my gosh, like, what do you want to do?" And Raina ended up getting in a little bit later because she flew from work, and then Annalise came from Hawaii Friday morning. So we just kind of had a smaller group for, Thursday night. And I told them I was like, "I just want to put on our robes." And we called the front desk. They sent up a ton of blankets, and we just had like a movie night Thursday night because I knew it was coming for us the rest of the weekend. And I was like, I cannot like go out Thursday night too. Cause they're like, oh my gosh, we need to go do something. Your birthday's at midnight. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. I want to be asleep by 9. Like, I don't want to be awake when my birthday strikes at midnight. So that's exactly what we did. We ended up putting on our robes, taking baths, and watching The Hangover in the room, which was really fun and kind of like a funny way to start the weekend. And then Friday morning, I woke up and it was my 25th birthday. I want to give a big shout out to leap year because it did push me to a Friday, which honestly was perfect for a trip to Vegas. Um, and I woke up and the girls like decorated the room. It was so cute. Good morning, March 1st. Look what they did. Look at how cute this is. Here's the setup. Here's the cake in full glory. The cake is so good. Like, it's so good. I've never seen a cake this beautiful in my life. And here's our setup. It's a beautiful day to be 25. Yes. Probably. Happy birthday signs. I had the most beautiful cake that Perry got made in San Diego and brought with us to Vegas that said quarter life crisis. It was literally perfect. And we just had a full day Friday. We spent the day by the pool at the Virgin, which was really nice. They had like music and chairs, and it was so sunny. And we were just like tanning. For my birthday lunch, we had mimosas by the pool and chicken tenders and fries, which is my
The most bird meal ever.
yeah, my dream like birthday lunch. And
Bird
then
still eats like a 5-year-old, in case you're wondering.
yeah, honestly, I do. And that was just really fun. The girls were like talking about wanting to go to a day club, like at one of the big hotels on Friday day. But I really wanted to be like so fresh for the night that we just like ended up hanging at the Virgin, which was really nice because it was like a little bit more low key. And then Friday night was the big night. And we went to a really awesome steakhouse in the hotel. And then we went out to the Omnia, which was in Caesar's Palace, probably also where you guys stayed. If you saw that, it was like the big club in there.
Yeah, I have no idea. We were not there.
Yeah. We got there around 10:30 and we were like one of the first people there because we went out with a promoter the whole time we were there. So we were able to do like the VIP tables and stuff. And that club was so incredible. Like there's like a huge chandelier in the middle that like comes down when the DJ starts and like does like a light show. It was crazy.
Coming live from the club of Las Vegas. Happy birthday to me. 25, baby. Cheers,
And we were there until approximately like 4 a.m.
Wow. So did you feel adequately celebrated?
I felt adequately celebrated that day. That night when I got home to the hotel, Perry was force feeding me a liquid IV in a huge water bottle. And I kept telling her, like, I want to leave. I was like, obviously heavily intoxicated, but I was like, Perry, like, do you think we can leave tomorrow? I was like, do you think we could drive home tomorrow? And she was like, Bird, no. Like, you're doing a brand deal with this hotel. Like, all these girls flew in to like celebrate your birthday. And I was like, I know, but what if we just left tomorrow and we all went back to California? And she was like, we're not leaving tomorrow. And it was just like, I was having like a panic attack at 4 a.m. because I knew the hangover that was coming. And I was like ready to eject. I was like, we got to get out of here. Luckily, Saturday morning, I woke up and I think that all the preventative measures I took for that night really paid off because we honestly felt like pretty decent Saturday. We ended up going to the Bellagio like flower garden. Did you see that when you were there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went
Yeah,
to
it's
see that.
beautiful.
Yeah, that was really pretty. It was like the most serene part of Vegas I had seen. There was like flowers everywhere. They change it out for different occasions. And then
Yeah, when I
we
was there, it
pretty
was Halloween. So it was like a lot of pumpkins and like fall vibes.
yeah, when I was there, it was I think like Chinese New Year themed, and they had like a bunch of like interactive like dragons, and it was really cool. Um, and then Saturday night we just ran it all again, and we went to go see the Chain Smokers. We went to a nightclub called XS in the Wynn, which was honestly really nice. Like that hotel seemed like they had it going on, and the
Is that
Chain
where the guy
Smokers.
bought you the Dom?
Yeah, it is. So we kind of had issues getting into the chain smokers because it was so crowded and like, everyone has promoters and everyone's trying to get in. But the promoter we used, her name was Mel, and she like came through so clutch the entire weekend. She got us in the club when they told us it was like completely sold out. They were like, "Oh, there's only actually outside standing room." And it was like quite literally 30 degrees outside, and we're all wearing like tiny sparkly outfits. And this promoter got us in. We were at like the best table in the front. And pretty much how Vegas works is it's like pretty much, I would say, prostitution in a way because they use like girls to sell tables to guys, which is so weird. Like they take the promoters take like a really, cute group of girls, put them at a table, and then guys like buy the tables that the girls are at, which I think is like a really like gross concept to me. But we were so late to this club that the tables were already full. So they just like stuck us at a table with these random men. And the guys ended up being from Kentucky. They were so funny. Like they were, I was looking around and like every table was full of like creepy dads and like gross people. Like table in front of us, they had all these girls who, they looked like they were like on some kind of crazy drug. Like every girl at the table looked like extremely checked out, like, you know, not really wearing a lot of clothes. And this guy in front of me has his like arm around one of the girls and his like other arm around another. And then I watched him take out his phone and check the time. And his background picture was like him, his wife, and his kids.
That
And
is so
like
sad.
it was so sad. Like I remember in that moment being like, oh my gosh, like I it was just like disgusting, honestly. But somehow we got put at this table with the funniest, coolest men I've ever met in my life. They were like younger from Kentucky, there for like some kind of work conference. None of them were married. We just had such a fun time. They weren't creepy. They were just like having the best time with us. And one of the guys asked me, he was like, "What's your favorite drink?" And I was like, "I really like champagne." And then all of a sudden they bring out this 3-liter bottle of Dom, and it's like glowing and there's sparklers, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was so fun. And we ended up seeing the Chainsmokers that night, which I love the Chainsmokers. And that is how we ended our weekend in Vegas with the Chainsmokers and a 3-liter bottle of Dom and our guys from Kentucky. And it was just so much fun. And we also left the club, I think, around 4:30 that night.
Wow. Well, to say that we had opposite weekends was an understatement because they could not have been more different. I actually got sleep for the first time in a while, and I think I had my highest sleep scores. And I was checking yours, but I don't think you wore your Aura ring.
No, I did wear my Aura ring.
Oh, I didn't
My
see your sleep
sleep
scores.
My sleep score for day 1 was like 46, and for day 2, I wanna say it was like in the 30s. I'm being so serious. Like, that it made me wanna take my Aura ring off and throw it into, like, the abyss, because every night my Aura ring kept telling me, like, "You need to go to bed. You need to go to bed. You need to go to bed." And I was, like, just getting ready to, like, leave and go to the club. I think collectively for the 2 days we went out in Vegas, I got 6 hours of sleep collectively.
Yikes. Yikes. Well, I'm glad that you had a good time overall and that you felt celebrated and that you can just check that off your list.
Yeah, felt extremely celebrated. I think I'm gonna be hibernating until my 26th birthday. So super awesome, but I need a break.
What's something that you want to cultivate in your 25th year?
I was thinking about this like as I was getting ready to go to Vegas, just kind of like the difference between where I was at when I turned 24 and where I am when I was turning 25. And I feel like I have such a level of like contentment this year, just like in every part of my life, like relationships, loving where I'm living. I think there was a long period of time last year where I like didn't really like San Diego, and I was having a really hard time adjusting, and I was going through breakup and all those things. And so I think I just want to continue to cultivate the level of like contentment that I've been feeling like as I went into 25. And we were
Mm.
all joking about like obviously the quarter life crisis. Like that was a theme of my birthday weekend, quarter life crisis in Vegas. But like I think that I'm going into 25 like in a really calm way. I mean, you never know what's coming for you. That's what I've learned is like no matter what intention you set for a year, you truly never know what's coming for you. But I would hope to bring in just like peace and contentment and keep that train going.
I love that. Or, just staying content and peaceful no matter the circumstances, if they're good
Yeah,
or bad. I think that's
totally.
a great one. I love that for you.
Thank you.
Well, my weekend took a very different turn. As I said, on the second, I hit 2 months without drinking, which is just, I can't get over it because it's just so crazy. Because, like you said, like I've never had a problem with alcohol. I didn't drink all the time, but I did drink often, at least probably like every weekend or every other weekend. Some weeknights, just kind of depending on what was going on. And it's been a really nice change of pace for me. And Mario's also not drinking. And a lot of our friends have kind of slowed down their drinking as well. And I think for me, just realizing that I could do it and that, it didn't really change like whether or not things were fun or, you could still go out to dinner and have a really great, amazing time. And just kind of seeing that has been really cool. And I highly suggest like people that, drink at every meal or drink at every social event, just like trying it out and just like showing yourself that you can have a good time without it. Because there were points in my life where I didn't think that was true, you know?
Yeah. I feel like we realized that, like, as a collective whole when obviously mom and Win stopped drinking because it was a shock for us. Like, I remember thinking, like, how the hell are we gonna have Christmas without drinking? Like, this is gonna be a crime. Like, and all the things that we do now without drinking, like we go to concerts together as a family, we go to dinners, we have holidays, like it's completely doable. And I do wish I would have known that like in my younger years. I remember being in college and feeling like extremely peer pressure to drink all the time.
Hmm.
And I always knew that I was like a fun, awesome person without alcohol. Like I had pretty much the same level of fun either way. And that is a realization that I think a lot of people have to like come to terms with because it does seem like in our society that that's like really a weird concept to grasp.
Yeah, or like, if you're hungover, everyone's like, "Oh, just like start drinking again." And it's just a cycle. And the more I started looking into the effects of alcohol and really researching it, because that's the thing about me, like no matter what I do, I'm going to research it. I'm going to Google it, I'm going to read articles, I'm going to listen to podcasts, I'm going to talk to people, and just the more I started looking into it, the more I realized the effect that it does have on your brain when it comes to developing Alzheimer's and memory loss and just like that hazy feeling that you have when you're drinking a lot. And I don't know, I just didn't feel drawn to it. And I'm not saying I'll never drink again. Who knows? But for right now, it feels really, really good and it feels right. And I mean, it's nice now that there's so many options, like because I do like to have that like special drink or like fun beverage at the end of the day. And so, there are lots of options. I've been loving Joyous, of course, but then also some other brands like Shirley. I discovered a non-alcoholic espresso martini that I love. So, there's a lot of options out there. And I think too, like something that I have been realizing is maybe I didn't kind of know how much I was kind of relying on alcohol to take the edge off things because, the past 2 months have been probably the most like anxious months I've had in a while. I think it's just kind of everything that I've been going through the past couple of months, the move, starting my business. I'm in this relationship now. Like all of these things have kind of been building up and building up. And then, like, the past 2 months, I've really felt the effects of everything kind of settling. And to be honest, like, it's been hard. Like, it's been very anxiety inducing, very stressful, just having that like surge of emotions, like, and not having alcohol to fall back on and just, like I said, take the edge off of,
Mhm.
has been an interesting experience. And maybe I
Yeah.
was relying on it a lot more than I thought.
Yeah. That's something that I feel like I became really aware of when we started this whole journey as a family was like the intention that I'm putting behind drinking. It was really funny because in Hawaii, my gosh. It was really funny because in Vegas, I had like, a lot of my Hawaii girls there and they're very much about like intention setting. And so like before we would go out, we would like all sit around and like set the intention for the night. And we're like, like everything we drink is like to have fun and be in a good mood and like to celebrate this birthday and celebrate life. And I really started to do like a deep look at the intention behind when I was drinking. And like, if it was times when I felt like I was trying to numb things out, I was always just be more aware of that because, that's like not a healthy relationship to have with alcohol is when you're using it to like numb out emotions and feelings. Cause like those are things that like, even though you're going through this time and you've been feeling anxious, but like it's good to feel those things and work through them because I think the more you numb it and push it down, like it ends up coming out way worse and way bigger sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, totally. And Anna Grace and I talk about this a lot. And I think she might have said this on one of her podcast episodes with us. But, alcohol is called like spirits for a reason because they do hold spirit. And when you drink it, like you're allowing that to enter you. And so it's like setting that intention of like, okay, what am I trying to get out of this? And like, what am I allowing into my body?
Mhm.
Um, I thought that was a really interesting view. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it feels like I said earlier, it feels nice to wake up in the morning and like jump out of bed, not feeling hungover on a Saturday, and going to dinner with friends and really having great, intentional, present conversations and not feeling like they're clouded in any way. Because I feel like that had kind of started happening for me last year. And yeah, I mean, I feel healthy. Like the whites of my eyes feel brighter, which is, I think, connected to your liver and, little things like that. And so I'm interested to see like what happens as I continue this and, how long I can make it. I think that competitive side of me really kicked in. Um, just seeing how long I could go. And also like Mario's on his own health journey right now. And so it's been good that we've both kind of taken a step back from alcohol and yeah, so feeling really good and honestly surprised at myself.
Yeah. I had this conversation with people though during dry January, because honestly, dry January for me, like, it was pretty easy because there was, like, nothing I really needed to drink for in January, like, I was moving. There was just nothing, like, really going on, so I enjoyed having that kind of period of, like, cleansing, especially after our Europe trip, but I think all it did was, like, hurt me because my tolerance, which already is, like, super low, was even more low, like, post dry January. Like, it was really bad. Like, I went out to dinner with Hinge Man. I got 1 espresso martini, and I was like, "Whoa, like, I need to go home." Like, and so I fear for what dry January did to me, but also I was kinda talking about, like, the pressure. Do you feel this way? Like, the pressure that comes with, not drinking, but not being in recovery? Like, do you feel like when you break it, you're gonna feel, like, guilty?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that because I've done this for 2 months is a really long time for me. And I feel like I already put a lot of pressure on myself in parts of my life. And so I'm trying to have a good
Yeah.
relationship with this and like not make it something that if I do end up, like, if I were to go to Napa and like have wine there, like, would I be like down on myself for doing that? And like really trying to find a
Yeah.
place that feels like good because yeah, I mean that's totally my personality to put a lot of pressure on this and I don't want it to
Mhm.
be that way. Like I want it to just be something that I feel called to do right now or not?
Yeah, totally. I feel that way too just because, like, not being in the program, obviously, like, with our family, like, they are not drinking because they have a disease and, like, they're alcoholics, so, like, it's detrimental if they were to relapse, but, like, for people that have healthier relationships with alcohol and don't struggle with that, thank God, like, I do feel like there is a pressure of being like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sober." Because as soon as I feel like you say that, people are, like, gonna think it's really crazy if you go back to drinking.
Hmm.
So I feel like whenever I'm
Yeah.
taking breaks, I just say like, "Oh yeah, I'm just like not drinking right now."
Yeah, that's what I've been saying too. So, I mean, I guess it's been 2 months of not drinking because it's not that I'm like intentionally forcing myself to be sober. It's just like I'm not drinking right now, and that's what it is. And,
Yeah.
I think I personally have dealt with this, like talking to mom and Win about it. Like, I kind of have a little guilt, like, oh, I'm not drinking, and I can drink, but I'm not. Like
Mhm.
it's just something that like they have to do, but something I'm choosing to do, and so that feels like a little bit weird on some
Yeah.
level.
I don't think that they see it that way. Like, I think that they're probably are just like really proud of you for doing this because like they have felt the effects. Like, I mean, mom looks like 20 years younger since she stopped
Oh
drinking. Like,
yeah.
it is actually bizarre, y'all. Like, we go back and look at photos of our family, like when my mom was still drinking. She looks so much older than she does now. Like, she's reverse aging. It's actually scary.
I mean, that is, one of the reasons I have kept it going because I turned 30. Like, I'm starting to notice things, that weren't there before, wrinkles that weren't there, and, changes in my body. And I see mom, and she looks amazing. Like, there is no woman her age that we know that looks as good as she does. That's it, period.
Yeah, literally,
And
period.
yeah, and it's not that I think that mom and Win would make me feel bad or that they, feel a certain way about it. It's just like something inside of me that's like, oh, well, I'm kind of hesitant to talk about this with people who are forced to be sober because it's like a choice for me.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's like a privilege thing of like, oh, I have the privilege of this being a choice and not something that I have to do.
Yeah.
So, there are things that you kind of have to like work through internally when you decide to do something like this. And that would be one of them for me. But yeah, I've been really focusing on, like I said, this has been a really high anxiety time of my life and just for a multitude of reasons. And so I've been focusing on taking this time where I am sober and clear minded to really dive into things. I've been, going to therapy bi-weekly. I did a yoga retreat this weekend. It was all about well, backing up before that. So Friday, I think I talked about this, but I gave Mario for Valentine's Day 52 dates or like 52 date nights. And so it's a box and you pull out a date night for every week of the year. And so this
Mhm,
week we pulled go to an amusement park. And
mhm.
we don't really have one in Nashville, and it's also February, so not super ideal. But or it was February last week, but we decided to improvise and we went go kart racing.
All right, amusement park date party. You excited? You ready to lose?
Oh, you guys
Which
went? How was
we
it?
went, it was fun. I didn't like particularly love it because it's hard on your body. Like people bang into you. Mario hit me so hard and my neck like flew back. So I was sore.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I
But it
haven't
was
done that in so
definitely
long.
it was definitely like the adrenaline rush of, I mean, I love an amusement park ride. Like I love a roller coaster, so I would much rather have done that, but I think it was a good I think it was a good option.
That's really cute. What's the brand of, dates that you guys are doing? Like, what brand is that? 'Cause that's really cute.
I'll find the link. I think it's just like 52 date nights or something. I ordered it on Amazon, so I'll find the link.
Yeah.
And then we went to dinner and had mocktails and had a really great time. We had great conversation and yeah, so we had a really good alcohol-free date night. And then Saturday, I had been hearing about this yoga retreat. I'd gotten a couple of emails about it from a workshop that I had previously done a couple years ago. And it was all about somatic yoga, which is yoga focused on like releasing emotions that are stored in your body
Mhm.
and breaking generational patterns, which is something I've been reading a lot about. And it was really cool. I was hesitant to go by myself. Like I invited mom to go, I invited a couple friends to go, and no one could go. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go alone. And I'm glad I did. I am on my way to a yoga retreat in the middle of nowhere, right outside of Nashville in Franklin, actually like Leapers Fork. It's a somatic yoga retreat that is all about healing generational patterns, which I thought was interesting because Lord knows we've got a lot of that going on. And yeah, I'm excited. It was really small. There were only four of us, maybe, oh, there were five of us total. And it was a 4 hour retreat. And I had a lot of takeaways from it. It was a lot of meditation, a lot of guided journaling. And yeah, it was cool to go by myself because, like I said, I was hesitant. And I was especially hesitant after I purchased the ticket and received an email that there was no bathroom on site. But I did just find out that there is no bathroom on site. And if you know me at all, you know that that is a big, huge, major problem. I am extremely pee shy. I have never been able to go to the bathroom outside or in a moving vehicle, a plane, train, boat, bus, you name it. And that was false advertising because I was not aware of that until after I purchased the ticket. But you know what? We're gonna make do. They have a designated pee spot, which I'm sure I will not be using, but it's there if needed. Not gonna lie, extremely nervous about that. Very nervous. But you know what? We're going in and we have a good mindset and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And if you know me at all, you know
Wow.
how triggering that is for me because I am really, really weird when it comes to going to the bathroom. I can't go on planes, boats, in the water,
Yeah.
like not at
Allie
all. So I
one
was
time
thrown.
Allie one time held her urine for 17 hours on a flight to South Africa. Like, I'm surprised you didn't go into, like, kidney failure after that.
Honestly, same. Like, I'm shocked that my kidneys are okay, thank God. But yeah, I've like always been that way. I think it's an anxiety thing, just like holding it if I don't feel like I'm in like my place. I don't know. Like, I've gotten better about it now, but when I was like younger, it was really bad. But now I can go like pretty much wherever as long as it's like a bathroom and not a hole outside. Like, I will not go to the bathroom outside.
Allie didn't go to the bathroom at school. Like, we went to public school, and she would hold it all day long. Like,
Oh,
never one time.
when I moved into the dorms in college, I would go home to go to the bathroom. Like Thankfully, we lived across the
We do live
street.
across the street from the freshman dorm, so, like, that's not the craziest thing you ever said, but, like, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's gotten much better now. Like, I can go in public places, but yeah, the outside, like, bathroom thing was really just, like, off-putting to me, and so I stopped drinking water, like, 2 hours before, and I didn't go the whole time, but enjoyed the workshop, and yeah, so it was an interesting experience.
Yeah, that would, like, give me anxiety just because, like, I feel like when I don't have access to a bathroom, I have to go even more, and I get
Yeah.
really nervous, but also, like, there was an outdoor bathroom situation, and
No, the
after
outdoor
living
bathroom situation was a piece of grass.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. After living in Hawaii, like, I could easily go to the bathroom outside. Like, if there's one thing I learned and took away from my time living in Hawaii, it's that I could quite literally go to the bathroom anywhere. Like, I've gone to the bathroom probably in every place there is to ever go to the bathroom outside.
Yeah, I'm so pee shy and I get really nervous about it. I don't know. It's like probably something I need to talk about in therapy. I don't know. I'll add it to the list. But the workshop was really, really good. And okay, I just got back from church and realized I never did an update after yesterday's yoga workshop. It was actually really amazing. I didn't have to use the bathroom the whole time. And a surprise to no one, I was able to hold it for 4 hours. But it was really, really amazing. It was all about generational patterns and healing generational traumas. And it was just really, really interesting and also kind of made you appreciate the fact that you were here today and like everything that your family and ancestors did was so that you could be here today. And it was really just to survive. And it kind of gave me a new appreciation because I think that we get so caught up in like the negative patterns that we've inherited that have been passed down for generations. And honestly, like, yes, there are bad things that can be carried on generation to generation, but also like the strength that's there and just, demonstrated by the sheer fact that you are here walking around and alive today. Like, those people were badasses and they were strong and they were survivors. And, even, going back generations and generations, like pioneer times, like even like ancient times, like life was freaking hard and they hustled and, did what they could to make sure that you and I could be here. And it was just really, really cool to get that perspective. And yeah, it just made me super appreciative. And so we did a lot of breath work, a lot of yoga, a lot of movement, a lot of chakra alignment. It was just a really interesting and really perspective shifting experience. And I'm really glad I did it and that I wasn't scared off by the lack of bathrooms. I think, when we talk about generational patterns, like a lot of those things are alcoholism and addiction and, just negative things that you inherit from generations past. And it was really cool because the woman who led it talked about a study that they did on mice. And they had this like generation of mice and they sprayed in cherry blossom scent and then they shocked the mice, which is sad, but they shocked the mice. So
God.
they associated this smell with being shocked. And so they tested this 7 generations down. And each generation, even though they weren't being shocked, when they smelled cherry blossom, they freaked out and acted like they were shocked.
Wow,
Is
that's
that not
so
wild?
crazy.
And it's the same
That's
for
so
us. Like
crazy.
we carry trauma that has been stored in our bodies, that we inherit when we're in the womb. And that, there's all these studies done on like Holocaust survivors and people that have lived through really traumatic things and like the effects on their generations, their children and their children's children. And but it was really cool because I think when you think about generational patterning, you think a lot of negatives. But when I was doing the meditations, like a lot of the positives came out to me, like the strength,
Mhm.
we have a lot of like really, really strong female presence in our like grandmother, great grandmother, great great grandmother. And so that really came through, like just like the strength that we have in our family. So it was a really, really, really cool experience. And I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, totally. That sounds awesome. We were having, like, probably the most opposite weekends ever, but I would love to do that as well. Like, that sounds like something I would be really into.
Yeah, it was really just a great experience. And I think, realizing that you can hold strength and softness in the same, like you don't have to just like suck it up and be strong for everyone else. You can also be strong but have a soft side too. And that's something that I struggle with, like really balancing that feminine and masculine energy.
Mhm.
So
Same.
it was a good realization for me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's really cool. And I think like doing stuff like that by yourself is really empowering in a way. I used to be so afraid of being alone. Like I hated traveling alone. I hated going to things alone. But I went to a retreat last summer in Palm Springs completely by myself and didn't know anyone who was going, never met anyone in real life. And I had an incredible time. Like it was one of my favorite weekends. So I think it's important to put yourself in those kind of situations and go do things solo just because you learn a lot about yourself too.
Yeah, I think I've just become so used to having people with me all the time. So it's definitely something I'm gonna make, be intentional about, like doing things on my own and meeting new people and kind of getting outside of that typical circle.
Yeah, I'm really bad at like relying on people. Like I'm such a people person and I feel like I'm so like charged by others, but I also have to just be like really careful about who I'm surrounding myself with because that means like if I'm with people whose energy like sucks, then like my energy sucks too. Like I was just talking about
Yeah.
that this weekend. I feel like I'm very like I absorbed the energy of the people around me. It was so funny because on our car ride home from Vegas, I told you guys there was like a windstorm. The car was blowing side to side. It was quite literally hell. And Perry was driving. Also, we were at a gas station and someone next to her opened their passenger door when we were all getting gas and it knocked off her rear view mirror
Oh
because the
my
wind was
God.
so hard. It like slammed the door. And so we had to get their information. Like it was just kind of a shit show. And Perry got in the car and started driving. And then she like had really bad anxiety because the car was shaking. Like we were hungover as fuck. Her window just got hit. Like it was all these different things. And so she like had to pull over on the side of the road and just like bursted out crying. And then as she started crying, I just bursted out crying. So I was like, Perry was like sobbing. And I looked at her and like, Perry never cries. She's like such a strong, like, she definitely holds her emotions like well and she is always really strong. But like as soon as she bursts out crying, like I just completely start crying. Then I look over and Alex started crying. I will insert a video of like all of us just like having a meltdown if you're watching this on YouTube. Barry, look at me.
You're so brave. You're so brave. You're so strong.
Oh my god. Because it was so comical and I don't know, it just kind of shows how much of an empath I am because like as soon as she started crying, like I just couldn't even hold it back.
Well, it's pretty jarring to see Perry cry because she's like not really emotional.
Ever. Yeah. Like it's the kind of thing
Yeah.
like people see me cry all the time, like weekly, and I probably see Perry cry like once or twice a year. So it
Yeah,
is really
I
jarring.
I am emotional too. Like I cry a lot, and I'm not emotional in front of everyone. Like I have to like be on my own or like be with like my people. But like
Not me.
yesterday was a cry day for me. Like I cried all day. And I think it was just the buildup of the anxiety that I've been feeling the last couple of weeks and also paired with some of the emotions that came up in that workshop on Saturday. It was
Mhm.
just a lot. Like I just needed a day to just like be like weepy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it helped. Like I woke up this morning feeling like a release, like a lot better.
Yeah, I always tell people like crying releases so much cortisol. Like it is so important to cry. Mom always told me that because like I'm very emotional like mom and I would always be like, "Why am I crying all the time?" And she was like, "It's good. Like release the cortisol. Like it's awesome." And I tell my friends that all the time, but I kind of prefer to cry in public. Like as I don't know if it's weird. Like I love a public meltdown.
You really do. Airports, gas stations, you
Oh my
name it.
god, an airport slash airplane cry, like, hits so good. Like,
See, I would rather jump off the airplane than cry in front of everyone on the airplane.
I don't, like, make it a huge deal, like, on the airplane because I don't wanna make people uncomfortable and, like, make people think that I'm going through something, like, really, really bad when normally it's just, like, I'm not really sure why I'm crying. I just, like, look out the window, put my AirPods in, just, like, cry a little.
Oh my god. No, I have to be,
Uh,
like, in my space, kinda like with the bathroom, like, I have to be in my place, in my space, with my people, and that's it.
yeah, that's how you can tell older child versus middle child because
Yeah.
I just simply don't have that trait, thank God.
Yeah, you're just like, let it all flow. But anyway, I'm glad we had this time to catch up. It's been a little crazy just with you getting back into town, me, like, having to take the full day off yesterday.
Yeah, no, like, we
Um
fully intended on recording this yesterday, guys, which
Mhm.
honestly would have been better. Like, I know I probably sound like shit, and I'm sorry if my voice, like, is super agitating this episode because it's so hoarse right now, But if you guys would have seen me yesterday, yeah, that would have been a sight. But luckily,
Maybe
Allie
it's a
had a
good thing. Yeah.
luckily Allie had a mental breakdown, and we had to push the whole day to today because now I'm looking a little bit better. At least I washed my hair yesterday.
Nothing like a good like minty bee Monday, just start
Yeah.
the week off low so you can only go up.
Yeah. I love a minty bee on a Monday. It does start my week off pretty right.
You release your lighter and up from here. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hot girls have minty bees on Monday. Mine was technically Sunday after Vegas, but I am on day 3 of a hangover, so I could have another one at any time.
Well, I feel like, it's up from here for you as well. 3 days. I feel like it gets better after that.
Yeah, I actually have something really exciting that I'm looking forward to and why I need to like wrap this episode up because I am going to LA. I'm getting back on the road this morning. I'm going to see Aaliyah, my best friend. She was on the podcast earlier in season 3 with her sister Alexis. I'm going to see her in LA and meet Delilah in person for the very first time. And I'm like, speaking of having a minty bee, like I could break down in just full tears every time I think about it. And I know for a fact when I lay eyes on that child, like I'm going to lose my mind. I'm so excited.
She's the cutest child I have ever seen, ever. So
I
please send
know.
all the pictures. Like I just every time I see Aaliyah or Alexis post, I just want to like squeeze her. She's so cute.
I know. And I haven't seen Aaliyah since she was pregnant for like one day. I got to see her when I was actually randomly in Vegas as well. So I'm just so excited because I'm just so proud of her and like being a mom and, having the most perfect baby on earth. So that's where I'm going
Yeah.
today. And I think that's kind of giving me a lot of joy to get me
It's
through
adding
this
adding some
post
pep in your
Vegas.
step for
Yeah.
sure. Well, I was supposed to be in Miami this week. We were going to go on Thursday, and we are no longer going to Miami. So that was also a bummer on a
Oh, it
Monday.
hurts to hear
It
that.
hurts. It hurts. I was really looking forward to some sun and some sand, but now we are going to warm Chicago tomorrow. So yeah, I will be there for the week, which will be nice. There's some places in Chicago that I like, but I haven't checked the weather yet, so I'm a little nervous to do so.
Yeah, maybe just don't check it. I like
Yeah,
how
maybe just
last
be
week though you were
surprised.
like, I'm finally going to Miami. And I was like, yay. And then, canceled again.
So, moving on, moving on. Anyway, well, I hope you have the best time in LA. I'm glad we got to catch up and I got to see your beautiful hungover face. I'll post some behind the scenes of Bird's hangover wrap she had on earlier. It is a
Oh
sight to
my
see.
God. Oh my God. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to our hunger versus sober. Thank you guys for listening to our hungover versus sober episode, recapping our very different weekends. Like we said in the beginning of the episode, if you are watching on YouTube, there's going to be some extra content, some vlog going on that we took over the weekend. So head over there. We just started our YouTube last week. So go subscribe if you're a sister, because sisters subscribe on YouTube.
And do not forget to like and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you listen. And also, Bird, have you finished the February book pick yet?
Not yet.
Have you started?
Not yet.
Okay, well, it's March, so you might want to get started.
Okay, I'm excited about it, obviously.
Really, clearly. Well, full disclosure, I have not finished either. I'm a couple chapters left to go. So eventually we will get up the February book club episode at some point in
Yeah.
March.
Yeah, we're just moving a little slow this week,
Yeah.
this month, and, we're off to a slow start. We're going to come out strong.
Yeah. Slow and strong wins the race.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. We love you all, and we can't wait to see you next week. I don't even know how to end this. My brain's not working. Love you. Bye.